Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Committee on Appointments and Legislation and Rules, May 5th at roughly 9:01, right here in room 250. Call the meeting to order. Roll call. Tom Walsh absent. Ms. Bernal.
Here.
Mr. Small.
Here.
Ms. Bright.
Here.
And I, Don Jensen here. Making a quorum. We have a motion to approve remote attendance per resolution 23-53. Mr. Small, second by Ms. Bernal. For Ray Gatza, due to work. Ray?
Yes, due to work, I'm here.
Good morning. Mr. Ossipinski?
Yes, for work.
Good morning. All in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. No citizen comments. May I have a motion to approve previous meeting minutes? Ms. Bernal, second by Mr. Small. All in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Oops, sorry about that. Next, we have a resolution that was sent to us by a fellow board member, Mr. Reed. It's in regards to the HB 2827 Homeschool Act. I talked with Mr. Herman. Oh, I'm sorry. Pat, are you with us?
I am, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Herman.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you attending.
Yes, sir.
I talked with Mr. Herman last week in regards to this, and he was checking through. So, well, I'll let Mr. Herman explain his perspective on it.
Board members, the House bill is reading the history of it. A lot of it's been replaced already or rewritten already. It's really hard to tell what all is. The other concern I had is an area that is an individual matter, not something that the county controls one way or the other. I don't know if the county board wants to go into those.
Excuse me, Pat. I think we're not getting a good signal here. You're close to the phone?
I do have a phone.
Yeah, signal seems to be going in and out. Is that us maybe? No? Try that again.
Here.
I'm sorry?
Try that again.
Was I talking too fast or?
Could be. Let's try that again, please.
All right. The House bill that is cited is at the beginning stage. The legislative history appears that a lot has been withdrawn or rewritten. It's hard to tell exactly what's going to be in it. It's gone to committee at this point. The other concern I had was this is an area more of individual freedoms, rights, responsibilities. It is not an area that the county has any control over. I don't know how a board member's constituents would feel across their districts, but I don't know that it would be the same the entire county, and whether the county would pass a resolution would speak for the entire county. If it's something each board member wants to consider from their constituents, to hear from them, that would be one thing. Most of the resolutions we do in opposition or for legislation are county matters. such as the wind farms and solar farms.
Right. So at this point, would you suggest until they get confirmed legislation to hold off on this? And if possible, notify the board members, and they could notify whoever they talk to in their districts to send in witness slips would probably be of greater effect to it.
Certainly, board members could advise their constituents that they should contact their legislatures to know how the individuals feel, whether they're witnesses or however they want to let them know that. That would probably be the better way to do this. I don't know where our regional superintendent stands on this issue, or whether they have more information from any organization they belong to on what they think the end result of this bill would be.
Yeah, Mr. Dvorak made some comments in the last ROE meeting that we had in April, if I'm not mistaken. Ms. Brunel?
Yes, do we have this resolution written already?
Yeah, it's right here. I can read it if you like. Mr. Herman did some checking on the different references in there. And would you say some of them, Mr. Herman, were not relevant to the topic?
I'd say some of them do allow the government to regulate homeschooling. Education is traditionally allowed a power of the states. So they do that. I don't know that the broad reference to those cases says exactly what the resolution insinuates they say. You be careful there. And it is I don't want to say necessarily changing topic, but one of them was not about the allowing the homeschooling per se. It certainly does allow.
Could you repeat that again?
The one case said the state is allowed to regulate education, whether that's private school or homeschool or public school.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just have one more question.
Yes.
So the bill that's in Springfield now, they don't want homeschooling? They want everybody, they want to regulate it.
More, use your mic, Kathy. Yeah, they want to regulate it more so than what it is already.
And do we,
Excuse me, as Mr. Herman mentioned, it's in motion or in flux right now. It's not really set per se. It's gone back to committee, I'm assuming, for revisions or rewording.
and do we know what those regulations are going to be that are in this bill?
Well, that's a good question, because I'm not familiar with what they've done back in committee at this point.
Well, then I think it would be a good idea if we just postpone.
Well, it's like I've mentioned before. Well, I think it was in regards to the one we had for getting back jurisdiction of the solar farms and wind farms. One resolution from the board here, it'd be better if you had a larger number of witness slips downstate, speaking in regards to whether it's an opposition or a proponent of. The same thing happens here. Although I'm not sure about the 125,000. That wasn't the last number I saw, but I know there was 40 or 50,000 that I saw reported, and they didn't pay attention to it anyway. So, Ms. Bright?
So the last update I had was that it was tabled, definitely looking for it to come back, but it'll probably be changed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. I think there's no point in doing something right now, but to, stay current with it to see what's coming, because when it comes back, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
And so if we oppose it now, what
Yeah,
they're
this here may
bringing up.
not mean anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's.
Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Herman?
actually, this is Ray Gatsa.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Tom Walsh last time said the witness slips, it sounded like the witness slips would be no good if it comes back and changed, correct?
Well, the witness slips that were put in before will no longer be good because they took it back to committee and are making changes. So you'd have to start that witness slip process all over. That's the way I understand it.
I gotta tell you, it's very disappointing in how they operate in Springfield.
I agree wholeheartedly. It's game, sad to say, and not a
Yeah,
very
and I don't
nice
know how we
one.
win. In Illinois, they want to do away, if they could, with homeschooling.
Yep. Ms. Bright?
So the latest update from Jed Davis says that it's been put on pause at least through the end of this year. But the bill sponsor has already stated she's going to bring it back with changes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it seems pointless, as you guys said. Even the witness slips, they just get thrown out. But contacting your legislators might be a good idea in the meantime, if you have people from your district, what you could suggest, maybe.
Yep. That's right. Show them the tip of the iceberg. Mr. Herman, it's on the agenda. Thoughts on proceeding from here?
It's on the agenda. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to take any action. If there is a motion and a second, you would have to vote on it. If there is not a motion or not a second to that motion, then no action is necessary. You can table it, but you wouldn't really know when to table it to.
Right, yeah.
it
Could
can-
be a year.
If no action is taken, it can always be put on the agenda at the appropriate time.
Yeah, if it was a year, then my administrative assistant sitting to the left of me would have to put it on her calendar to bring it back.
Well, at any time, if the legislation changes and it is coming faster, any board member could ask to be brought back to committee and tell yourself, the chair of this committee, that they want it on the agenda,
Yes, with more appropriate language.
depending on where the status of the bill is, yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Mr. Small?
Well, could you ask our superintendent of schools to give us an update Thursday so that Mr. Reed doesn't think this committee is just trying to blow him off?
Yeah, well, he made comments the last time because that's when it was sort of no, I don't want to say in motion, that was being voted on. Well, voted on in committee. And I don't think he was necessarily in favor of, although I hope I'm not misspeaking, in favor of the
Whole bill.
more extensive overreach to a
Yeah.
certain extent. Yeah. Okay. Anything else on that? If not, we'll go on to appointments and reappointments. And we'll just have to monitor that as it goes. And like I say, I think witness slips would do a whole lot more because the volume's going to speak more to it than I believe anyway. First off, we have Board of Review appointing Kathy Watts taking the place of Judy McConville, who resigned as of March 15, 2025. Nobody here. That's all right. She was the alternate, and so I'm appointing her as the regular Board of Review member. Annual salary of $9,500 for a 2-year term. And we have a motion to approve that appointment. Mr. Small, bless you. Second by Ms. Bright. All in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Don, can
Aye.
I just have one
sorry.
question. The 9,500, is that per year or per the 2-year term?
Well, that's a good question. No, I think it's,
That's per
oh, no,
year.
it says annual salary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says annual, I'm sorry, it says annual salary in
Annual.
the resolution.
So for each year, she gets the,
Correct.
okay, thank you.
All in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next, we have Allen Township Fire Protection District. Let's see. Oops, wrong one. Let's see, here. To appoint Dana Stillwell as trustee for a 3-year term beginning May 1, 2025 to April 30th, 2028. We have a motion to approve said appointment. Ms. Bernal, second by Ms. Bright. Any questions? All in favor of said appointment signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next, we have Serena Fire Protection District. Let's see. Letter containing expected resignation of Jane Corsini on April 16th. And Michael Fowl to be appointed as trustee to, reappointment, I should say, because it looks like he has a term that's expired, for a 3-year term beginning May 1, 2025 and expiring on April 30th, 2028. We have a motion to approve said appointment. Mr. Small, second by Ms. Bright. All in favor of said appointment signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Next, we have some appointments for the Health Department. The first one being Lori Janko Wilkie. Will expire on June 30th, 2025. The reappointment for a 3-year term starting July 1st, 2025 and expiring on June 30th, 2028. We have a motion to approve said resolution. Ms. Bernal, seconded by Mr. Small. Any questions? All in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next, we have a reappointment for the Health Department for Dr. Robert McGuire. Term to expire June 30th, 2025. Reappointment for a 3-year term beginning July 1st, 2025 and expiring on June 30th, 2028. May I have a motion to approve said resolution? Ms. Bernal, second by Mr. Small. Any questions? All in favor of said motion for reappointment signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next, we have reappointment for the Health Department for Renee Gallagher. term expiring on June 30th, 2025. Reappointing for a 3-year term beginning July 1st, 2025 and expiring June 30th, 2028. May I have a motion to approve said resolution? Mr. Small, second by Ms. Bright. All in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next, we don't have the resolutions yet, but appointments for Farmland Assessment Committee for Joe Catlin and Randy Jackson. May I have a motion to approve the appointments? Mr. Small, second. Ms. Bernal, any questions? All in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried.
Is that one just for Catlin, and then you'll do another one for Randy?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Well, another resolution will be for Farmland Assessment Committee for Randy Jackson. We have a motion to approve. Mr. Small, second by Ms. Bernal. All in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Also joined us this morning was fellow board member Doug Traeger. Anything, Doug? Okay. I don't see anything else here. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I do have
Done.
one.
Yep.
I do have one question.
Go ahead.
The rule book wasn't on the agenda, but I don't know if I can bring this up just for a question about the online bid process at the highway. Have we, have we gone, is legal okayed that? And are we going to put it in the rule book?
Their online bid for the contracts?
Yeah.
I don't know, did they go through committee yet on that? Did they? Okay. Mr. Small?
Oh, that was up for the online or for opening the bids the same day as the meeting?
Well, it'd take the bids online and then, I'm trying to think how that went.
It's also, everything is online. All the
Everything-
contractors will submit everything online and be approved online.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah. Well, we'll have to take a look at that, see what we,
Will that go to full board if it's a rule change?
Mr. Herman?
Yes,
Question by Ms. Bernal, that online bid process for contracts and that for the highway.
Yes.
Do we need to do a board rule change on that?
yeah, my understanding, all the board rule changes have to come from the full board. That's what we've been doing in the past as well.
Okay, but they'd have to go through the committee here first, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will go through Legan rules first, they can come from their committee, particular circumstance, and sound like the highway department has some
Right.
particular circumstance they may want to consider to do that. I'm not exactly familiar with the entire bidding process with the highway department. So I haven't weighed in on the propriety of that because I didn't know all the information that was being
Okay.
done on the online bidding. We just want to make sure it is all transparent.
Yeah. We'll get that reviewed this week and see if we need to have a Legan Rules Committee before the full board.
Mr. Herman will have to review it, I would think, the whole process
Yeah.
and how it's done, or somebody from the state's attorney's office.
Yeah. And talk with Mr. Ernest in that regard, because evidently it's done elsewhere on a regular basis.
The online is done in the county?
No. They regularly do it with the state at this point in time, the way I understand it. Anything else?
Mr. Chairman, this is Ray.
Yes.
Just wondering, I went back and watched the video of the GIS meeting, and there was a robust conversation for about an hour with a lot of frustration on the property taxes. And this is coming up multiple times. I don't know if we should have a subcommittee or bring this up somewhere to discuss what can we do, if any, about property taxes. And if there is nothing, then let's press. But we're all getting asked from our constituents on what the board can be done. What do you think?
Any thoughts out there? I don't think we can.
There was nothing resolved. It was a good conversation, but with nothing.
Ms. Burnell?
Ray, it's Jill. I have been talking, also with some of my constituents, and I'm afraid with these big increases again, a lot of people aren't going to be able to live in their homes. And my question is, could we lengthen the period in which people could make installment payings up until the September deadline instead of just the 2 payments? Maybe that would help. Otherwise,
Jill?
I don't know the answer.
Jill, we were, and I think you may have been at the assessors meeting a couple of years ago when Stephanie even mentioned to the assessors, if you know it's going to go up an extravagant amount, don't do it all at once. You can do it over several years. I don't know that we're taking that approach, and I think we need to, but we also need to do something about the assessors not doing their job. I'm hearing one house similar to another, and one may be 3 times the taxes of the other house. So I think for all of our sakes, we need to get the assessors on board, because I think, and I could be wrong on this, I'm not fully understanding everything, the 33 1/3 is what we need to reach as a county, but right now we have certain people paying an unfair share and others getting away with very low taxes, if I'm understanding it correctly. And that's why some of these extra ratios are being put on certain homes to make sure we reach 33.5 as a county. So I think we're lopsided in the way we're doing this due to the assessors not doing everything they need to be doing. And Stephanie feels she has absolutely no power to the assessors because they don't report to her. So I think we need either a subcommittee to have a conversation again to see what we can do with the assessors, if that's the problem.
Mr. Traeger?
Ray, I'm the chairman of that committee. It was a very good discussion. I sent out an email to all the board members after that, talking about one thing we could do involving highway projects. But as far as anything else, the only thing we can do is talk to the townships, because they're the ones who have to hold the assessors accountable. We can't. The assessors are either elected, in which case they're elected officials, and I don't know if the township boards have even much power over them. And the ones who are appointed, the township boards don't seem to want to tell them to do their jobs. So you're absolutely right. Some of them are doing a really good job of doing their assessments, and other ones are not doing anything and haven't done anything for several years. So,
But it
but I
sounds
don't
like
think there's,
they
I don't
could
think
be
there's anything
fined.
this, go ahead.
It sounds like they could be fined, and that it's a misdemeanor if they don't do the job in the statute, and I'm not clear on that. Mr. Herman can maybe clarify that.
We're following up on that. Mr. Templeton brought that up at the meeting, and I think he was going to talk to the state's attorney's office. I don't know if Mr. Herman's been involved in any of those discussions or not, but
Mr. Anderson usually handles the matters in the assessor's office.
Okay.
But I have not been talked to about it. The charging a crime, is that what you said, Mr. Gadsden?
Yeah,
I
actually,
think,
when I spoke to Stephanie, she had mentioned it's possibly a misdemeanor. I don't know how that's listed.
yeah, $500 fine, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't read that statute, so I won't say anything about it, but
Oh, okay.
discretionary matters within the assessor's office, that's gonna be very difficult to prove that there's any violation. And I will from the township assessor, what we're talking. And because of township assessors, Mr. Traeger is probably right that there could be some inconsistency across the county, depending on the township assessor. It's very difficult to prove the property.
Well, I
Don,
think.
Go ahead, Mark.
Sorry, creeping as always. My recollection, Doug, when last we met, we were thinking about putting together some sort of a resolution, encouraging, the townships to enforce the obligations of their assessors and, demonstrating the necessity and the inequities that are out there. And I know Stephanie and I were going to try and work on that perhaps as early as today to put something together for your meeting. I have not spoken to State's Attorney Navarro, but I don't know as though in the past, when this has come up, the state's attorneys we've had before weren't really inclined to start charging local officials. I think we all know how that turns out. I think that was what I took from the last meeting, unless there's something else that you wanted me to look at and work with Stephanie on prior to the meeting.
I thought Mr. Templeton was going to talk to you about some further actions that he was under the impression we might be able to take.
Well, I'll reach out to Tom today.
Okay.
Because I haven't spoken to him yet.
Give an ideal situation if 100% of the parcels were done, some people's taxes would go up and some people's taxes would go down.
That's
Yeah.
Stephanie.
Well, yeah, it would, because basically I talked to Stephanie in that regard to the township multipliers. And, well, most of them are reasonably high. There's only a few of them that are at 1. A lot of them could be 10%, sometimes more.
I don't know that they would go down. They just might not go up.
Well, but to your point, and I mean the discussion that was had, the situation is the way it is because 100% of the parcels are not being assessed every 4 years.
Right.
Whether if it's 25% per year or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And in those circumstances, those that are assessed still get hit with that multiplier, which in turn increases their taxes, unless, of course, they come in and file a tax objection in regards to that.
I think part of the problem too is that the assessors who are doing their jobs get vilified because the taxes in their, certain townships go up, while the ones who are passive or dilatory in their duties, nobody's mad at them.
And Don, I thought Stephanie told us 33 and a half is
A
where
third.
we had to be as a county. I'm sorry, 33 and a third. That's where we have to be as a county. And that's where, to your point, some are heavier and some are lighter because we're not doing our job.
Yeah, correct. Because those township multipliers, that's the goal of that, is to get everything at 33 and a third. Even though more than likely it doesn't. Because otherwise, if it did, then basically you'd have everything at 33 and a third. Excuse me.
Yeah, she made it sound like some were getting almost double hit.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I just mentioned. If somebody was just assessed this year, or say last year, and they got hit with a multiplier of 1.1, then basically they're 10% above fair market value. Yeah.
Yep.
And in those circumstances, they have a legitimate reason for coming in and doing a tax objection because they're 10% above fair market value.
And Don, my question is, there's 4 years to get all the properties assessed. Why can't we somehow work with the township to pay the assessor by the assessments done? Pay for performance, basically.
Well, that would, to me, would be the ones that are contracted. And that contract, this is the way I look at it, the contract could have in there an incentive to do 100% of the parcels in the next 4 years.
Well, the incentive would be
But
the
as far as the elected, as far as the elected, well, that's another matter. I don't know. I need to take a closer look at that. Mr. Traeger, do you have?
I don't think they abide by what they're supposed to be doing in a lot of cases. They just
Oh,
don't.
I don't disagree with you there. You know, in an ideal situation, as I mentioned before, you'd have 100% of the parcels done in that 4-year period.
Right.
To maintain or attempt to maintain that 33 and a third % of fair market value in all those parcels here in the county.
Right. And the board passed the resolution saying that the assessor's office could assess property and charge back the townships. And she has done that on a couple of cases where there was just, I think it was pretty much a new construction that nobody had done any assessments on it. But she doesn't have assessors over in her office. She doesn't have licensed
The
assessors
staff
in her
isn't
office.
there.
So we could do that, but we would have to hire people for her office to go out and assess people, and then bill the townships, and then the townships could fight the fact of saying, no, we're not gonna pay that bill. I mean, there's nothing saying they have to. So, yeah, it's a big quandary.
But I don't think anybody's in a hurry to fix it. And that's where I think we need to get involved. I think she's only got 4 or 5 assessors that are doing their job.
Yeah, I think there might be a few more than that. You'd have to actually take a look at, the stats we had for the last two quadrennials and that, to see, I mean, it went from the quadrennial previous to this last one, I think it was roughly around 22% of the parcels were done up to between 60, 65% in the most previous one.
Well, the other side of that argument is that, let's say the assessors all agreed and they all said, yep, we're gonna do all this and we're gonna get it all done, as it happened in Manlius Township. Manlius Township assessor did all the parcels, and all their taxes went up, and there was hell to pay. But she did her job. And she has a multiplier of 1 now. Okay, so which means they're not gonna have a multiplier this year on their tax bills. But if all the assessors did that, everybody's taxes would probably go up the first year that was in effect. There's just no getting around it because everything would be assessed and assessed at the fair market value. The next year, it should be one, there shouldn't be hardly any township multiplier. But I guess the point I'm making is if you got all the assessors to do their job the way they're supposed to be, taxes would go up, just like they did in Manlius Township.
Well, yeah, but see, basically in that situation, you're going to increase the equalized assessed valuation for the county as a whole.
Right.
And for the
All the
numerous
taxing districts.
government entities as a whole.
Right.
So basically, some taxes are going to go up and some taxes are going to go down because your equalized assessed valuation is going to be higher for those taxing bodies, so their levy rate is going to go down.
Hopefully.
So overall,
Hopefully.
well, well, see, that's the reason we have representative government. You have the different boards that oversee that budgetary process that sets that levy. And well, then basically you have the ballot box. I mean, basically as simple as that. Well, it's not simple when when you try to find candidates to go for those positions, but nevertheless, but that's why it's because you're going to average out that situation because all of them are going to be assessed.
Don, if Tom Templeton is going to be talked to after, if he got any answers back, can we put him on the agenda for the full board meeting to discuss with us?
No, I think that's something we need to talk about and see how the way I look at it, it's in the townships.
Yeah.
Because that's where that situation lies at this point in time, unless the state were to decide to do something legislatively.
Right. Tom has an idea and a suggestion. I think it wouldn't be right to have him stand up in front of the board and talk about that,
I
we
mean,
don't know where it can go.
Those are discussions. Are you going to charge misdemeanors and things of that nature? Then, I mean, you have positions, even, well, contracted a little bit different than elected, but elected, I resign.
Exactly. People start getting charged. I mean, that's one of the risks you run. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'll pay my $500 fine and I'm out of here.
Yeah. That's why in a contract situation with the townships, I think that's the most logical approach to it. You incentivize it for them to do their work. Sort of like piecework.
So can we put anything on the agenda?
In regards to this topic, I don't believe I saw anything on there, no.
My question is, should we?
Not in my opinion.
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, I think it's a little premature at this juncture, and I'm not trying to kick the can down the road, but I haven't met with Stephanie, haven't met with Tom, and I think we need to pretty much have an idea or a plan before, I mean, we're going to discuss it again in the next meeting, and by then, hopefully, we'll have it.
That's fair.
Anything else? Going once, going twice. We have a motion to adjourn. Mr. Small, second by Ms. Bright. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? All in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Thank you, everyone.